Don't we look at getting the youth training, for instance, in driving a forklift, managing a crane, and was that? And there was another opportunity he talked about. And I said to them, I said, those are high-paying jobs. If the youth can learn to do those activities, they will be happy. They don't need to do crime. So we will be looking at that. We're also going to be looking at the children. I had a mother call me today, and one of the things she talked about is the differently disabled people or children in her community. And she says, we are not getting any help for those children. You have parents who are really under stress because there's nobody offering solutions to help their children, especially when they, the parents, pass on. So they're looking for somebody who will come along and who will assist them. And not just that, but also try to deal with the social services grants that should be available to those children. Also in terms of education, because those children cannot really go into a normal classroom environment. They need special classes that they can still learn and be able to manage themselves as they get older, so that the parents can pass on with the knowledge, or I should say happy in their knowledge, that the child, when grown as an adult, will be in a position to look after themselves. One of the policies is the laptops. Now, I am very into the IT field, and even at my age, I have to learn artificial intelligence programs, else I am going to be left behind. And it is critical that the children get those laptops and are taught about the artificial intelligence, which is here already. Therefore, if we do not ensure that they about the artificial intelligence, that effort. Healthcare, well, that is a disaster in itself. But some of the policies that I was looking at the other day, they were talking about dialysis care, which we know can be very expensive. Did you know it is $100 million that is paid out to private providers every year for dialysis treatment? I mean, I was shocked when I saw the amount of money that was being spent. The policy that is in place is going to take care of that, where there will be a center to deal with it. And it is only in an emergency situation that the patient will be sent to the private providers. The other thing too will be the issuing of a national health card, so that when you go to the hospital for treatment or a healthcare center, once you provide your card, your information will be in a database. So the excuse of your file has been misplaced or lost will be no more. They will be able to pull up your records and see the information and treat you accordingly. So, and I think that's a very good idea, because in America they have the Medicard. So I think it is going to be a great opportunity for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to get this medical card. Another policy that I saw is the fact that they're going to create a laboratory center where they can do actual testing. Now, when you go to the doctor, except for Valley Medical, You, the doctors have to send your blood test to a private laboratory. And then you have to wait 2 to 3 days to get back the results. That is going to be speeded up. So getting those results should help you in getting a proper diagnosis of what your ailment is. I have had to try and convince the residents of Digger Martin West that if they give me their vote, it is not just a vote for PEP, it is a vote for UNC as well. And that when UNC wins, we will all win. And something that occurred to me the other day is, as the Member of Parliament, if someone comes to me with an issue, whether they are PNM or they did not vote, it is going to be my responsibility as Member of Parliament to deal with their issues. I cannot say, well, oh, you're PNM, therefore can't help you kind of attitude. I will be treating with all issues equally and ensuring that solutions are dealt with equally. Roads. We all complain about roads. What I was suggesting to them is, listen, they come, they pay the roads. Then WASA comes, digs it up, and leaves it just like that. You just throw some dirt in it, and that's it. I said there has to be some kind of system set up where if the Ministry of Works is going to pave a road, then it should be put into the system, and then once it is paved, then WASA, if they have to come and dig it up, then the Ministry of Works know, well, okay, we have to go back to that particular road and redo it, repave it. I was driving through St. James the other day, Vidal and Panker Street. There was a huge leak, and I was told by the residents that that leak has been there for months. I was going somewhere, so I said, no problem, I'll tack back. When I tacked back, I did a video of the leak. And in my video, I said, Wasa, come na man. Y'all are supposed to have at least some kind of supervisors driving around the different areas, looking at what is going on in the area, in the different communities. So I said, you want me to spend 5 minutes in the shower, but here is a leak pouring water into the drain. Do you know that 2 days later, when I passed back at that particular spot, WASA had fixed the leak? Right? But of course, Ministry of Works still have to come and pave back the road. But I intend to check it again next week to see if the Ministry of Works did pave. If they did not pave, I'm going to do another live video and call them out on it. Because it is high time that somebody calls out these agencies. Instead of just saying, well, it's just there, nobody's doing anything. No, you gotta call them out. If I have to go and play Hull C at the Ministry of Works, or the Borough, or the WASA, or the TNTech, I'm going to go and play Hull C until the issues are addressed. And that is a promise. Currently, I deal with the borough. On my walk this afternoon, I noticed that a lot of the drains and the rivers are overgrown. They are high with bush. Therefore, the water is not able to filter through the drains or the rivers to where it has to go. I indicated to the residents today, I said, listen, if you make me your member of parliament, I am going to go and camp on the borough doorstep until we can come up with a schedule that those drains and rivers will be cleaned. Because April showers have already started. May, June, we're going to have the heavy rains. And people are going to get flooded out. I walked through Goodwood Gardens this afternoon as well. And I was amazed to see that they had those metal barriers in front of their driveway gates. In fact, one resident who, by the way, Phillip, she had sent you a message. And she came out when she heard my car playing the songs. And she called me over and she said, you know, I did send Phillip a message. I said, honey, I am here. I got your message. And walking into her home, there was again a metal piece in front of her doorway. And she said, Janice, it is ridiculous. Because last year when we had the heavy rains, she said water came all the way into the house. So they had no choice but to put in those metal gates. And it is at a cost, because when I was looking at it for my home in Diggle Martin Central, and I called the guy to find out, well, how much is it going to cost me? He says, it's going to cost you over $3,000 per gate, because I was going to put it in all the gates that was in the yard. I am angry. I really am. Because we are paying taxes and people are being paid to do the work. In the month of December, I have a drain to the side of my house. I have a drain to the back of my house. And the borough workers came and they were cleaning the one to the side of the house. Now they were cleaning during the rainy season. So you know what happened? They spent the whole month of December just cleaning that one drain. Because they will clean it now, it will rain for 2 days, and it will be right back to where it was before they cleaned it the first time. So they spent a month. I have told them that they need not just to clean the side of the drain, about the drain to the side of my house, but also the drains at the back of the other homes where I live. Because obviously there is an issue in terms of silt building up to the point where you have trees growing in that silt. I have a tree growing to the back of my house. So therefore, I will be working closely with the borough in terms of getting those drains and rivers clean. Because it is unfair. You see people, in shock. They are in horror when that water rises and it floods their home. And then all their appliances get flooded out. Mattresses, furniture. You imagine you just buy a brand new set of furniture from Courts. And you get flooded out the next day. You still have to pay for that furniture. Courts don't want to hear you got flooded out. You still have to pay. And it is unfair to the people of this country who are paying their taxes that they cannot get good representation, or they cannot get their issues addressed in a timely fashion. So I look forward to the hard work. I told them I will be working tirelessly for them to ensure that their issues are addressed. I will not back down, and once they put that trust in me, I intend to honor it, because I understand clearly the responsibilities of a member of parliament. Thank you.
want everybody in the road, come inside, come. We're going to light it on fire now. Make sure them cameras filming. Those who are here to hear it themselves don't want to say when I see it. Come, get yourself on a chair. Get yourself settled. This is the voice of the Progressive Empowerment Party. My name is Phillip Edward Alexander. Good evening. We have mounted a mission since January 18, 2017 with one focus in mind, and that was to rescue Trinidad and Tobago. And tonight, with 8 days to go before the mother of all elections, so I want to ask, sorry, interrupted myself, popcorn crew, food crew, everybody stick up in, everything on pause. Let me do the business of the business. William section, all you come inside. Take a minute. Everybody settle down. We want to get into it. We have to get into it. Levi, make sure everybody have a chair. They have chairs in the middle here. If you want to grab a chair, anybody want to grab, they have chairs in the middle here. This morning, Guardian Media published a geopolitical lie this morning. This morning, Guardian Media, owned by the Sabda family, owned by the Ansa Makal group of companies, published a geopolitical lie. Now, you all know me. I get more lawsuits than anybody in history. Ma'am, we have a nice spot in the back for the kids to play. If you want to take them in the back. And I only say that because I don't want the distraction. I have some information to bring and I don't read as talk. So, but there are plenty of kids in the back and they can go and play with them. Okay? I don't want you all to take that personally. Because I want to put Trinidad and Tobago on notice tonight. With 8 days to go, we will never be able to say we did not know. And we will never be able to say we did not have a chance to fix it. If we end up like Maduro, Venezuela, if you're selling your daughters and your sons swimming from Trinidad and Tobago because the PNM has cut out your rights, shut down social media, and put the nation in jail, it's because we missed the opportunity that all the good people assembled before you in the United National Congress Coalition of Interest has made themselves available to fight. This is not an easy fight. Every single person that stands up, steps out, speaks up is victimized. And you know that. You know that for a fact. It is why every single one of you that messaged me to get a problem solved, does either start or end with saying, Phil, keep my name out of it, you know. You know what you're saying when you say you know? You saying that you know that your government is a criminal empire that will use the power of the state against you for having the gall to use your fundamental constitutional rights, and you are too scared to stand up. That is what you know means. Because when it's screening time for elections, when it's screening time and we pulling people to come and stand in the front line, it's not like them pop-up parties who looking for people who walking past in the street, grab two, go and bring the doubles man and the fisherman and the fellow who just dropped the papers. It's not that. We need to make sure that the people that we put before you are capable and able to stand up and fight for you. When you look at what the PNM has given you in Diego Martin West, a media operator, Hans Devines, is still a child. Nothing wrong with youth. Round of applause for all the young people. Nothing wrong with media operators. Round of applause for all the media operators. But what you want in your parliament, where legislation becomes law that affects your life and the lives your children will live, you cannot have people who need paper and notes handed to them by the whip before they go in the park. You just go and read this. Stop voting for people whose only mission is to dress up, sit up, shut up, and try to look intelligent. Stop voting for that. Stop voting for crapo in Balize time. Stop voting for that. Stop voting for the nonsense of Simon the Nobrega that couldn't find his way out of a paper bag with a flashlight and a map. Stop voting for that in Diego Martin Central, because it's not Simon or little call when housefly landed on your children's eye Christmas morning because they ain't pick up the garbage. You don't have Simon number. It's mine. It's me you're calling. Because you know I will respond. And that I will fix it. I will get it done. My Christmas morning, this Christmas, I took my family to all the spots where the garbage was not picked up because of the amount of people that called me. But it is time now that all of us, I want to paint you a picture. Either get busy helping save it, or pack your things and flee. You see this 50,000 US bribe they pelt out there? Go and bite off a piece of that. Make sure you can liquidate something, and if you're not helping to fix it, sell your stuff, half price, pack and go. Because our next year of PNM, our next 5 years of PNM will be a murderous rampage of dictatorial destruction. And if the last 10 years didn't tell you that, I can't convince you. I have to look into the eyes of the people that I walk about and see, because I have made some miles in this election. And I am walking in communities that I have walked before, for elections before, whose lives have not changed. But the people that they have voted for, who didn't have money, are now millionaires. Those who were millionaires going in are now billionaires. And their condition is still the same or worse. So they have a saying, get busy living or get busy dying. There have plenty of people who did not live to see this election because national security failed. We sent all the children in the back, right? I could talk normal. Yeah. All the children gone? I was walking in, say bleep, somebody say bleep. I was walking in Cascade, the street between Mount Hololo and opposite York. No, there was a street right where St. Anne's meet Cascade. Across the road, there was a street that go up in Three Hills. And I was talking to somebody on the hill, and she was a very well-educated, well-spoken, elderly woman. She told me, Mr. Alexander, I want to tell you something. I don't like some of the things you say. Not the content, but the words you use. And I said to her, ma'am, my country is controlled by a secret society hidden in lodges all around St. Clair, downtown. They have lodges of secret society, men that meet and plot for all of us. And one of the people they plotted for is how we going to handle this Phillip Alexander. I mean, a Syrian. We don't want a Syrian outside there talking with business. We don't want him talking about uncle and auntie and cousin and brother and son. Because unlike others, when they talk philosophically, when Phillip talk, he talking about family and it's different. How we deal with him? The first thing they did was they enacted a complete media blackout on Phillip Edward Alexander. Nothing in, nothing out. I used to run the Jericho Project. It was one of the largest charitable organizations in the country. And every year when we feed the homeless at Christmas time, the media would show up and they would interview me. I know some media operators, I was their first interview. And one year I told the guy, I said, let's don't waste the time of the interview now. You will ask the questions, I'll give you answers, and your editor will not run it. This evening, we'll see Terence the Alsing face telling you about the first baby born for the year and all kind of foolishness. But you're not going to see the homeless, DJ. You're not going to see the homeless, and you're not going to see what steps we were taking to at least keep hungry people fed, at least for Christmas. And I had to explain to them. I said, my mother, she didn't approve. When I first realized that they were using a shock doctrine against me, that I needed a counter shock of my own. And I only stumbled upon that accidentally when one morning I went into Republic Bank on the corner of Woodward Street and Chadwick Road to get a couple $1,000 to pay for stuff for people that I represent in communications, and was told I was limited to $200 as of today. And I did a video where they parked the cars and I lost my cool for 5 minutes, my first ever rant. And that rant went viral in millions. And I realized that I could get around them. You know what people just tell me? Leaving the Center of Excellence, there are about 20,000 people in the Center of Excellence for the presentation of candidates. Somebody tell me walking past, you don't look like we, but you just talk like one of we. That's why we like you. And I tell people sometimes, it is difficult for me, myself, to say the things that I have to say to make sure that it penetrates deep down in the ground. You see, when it go in the ground, they send it viral. When they adopt it, that's when the message reach. You see, there are a lot of people who read the papers who don't vote. There are a lot of people who read the papers, they don't talk. And the posturing in the papers is for the educated class, or so the Sabga group of companies and those in the secret society that own the rest of the media think. But the lady said to me, don't get me wrong, the content of what you say is spot on. I've never heard a politician talk like you. But I wish you could do it without using some of those more industrial words. I said, and I explained everything I just explained to you, I explained to her. And she said to me, Mr. Alexander, I believe action speaks louder than words. And I said, I'm glad you said that. And I took my phone out of my pocket because we had just done a series of videos of the major things that I, Phillip Edward Alexander, without holding public office, had accomplished in this country in my political career, and she watched me silent. And I said to her, when we put out these videos that could be consumed in the front pew of the church, they don't go viral. But there's a reason that baldhead Camille used my words. She used my words. Because when I first said it, they convened the Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago. How could Phillip Edward Alexander refer to the Prime Minister as a That's the number you play with? As at 86. Plenty people will remember that interview 2017 when Fazir Mohammed, he said, we're taking a break, but when we come back, we're going to ask Philip Edward Alexander how he could call the Prime Minister up. Now, the break, when you on an interview and they break for ads, you and the host talk some stupidness, just chatting. But this is what I hear him say, is that they're coming back to fry me. So I sit down there for 3 minutes in silence, wondering how they, because they used to come at me, I don't know if you all remember, you know. They used to, if they call and they give me an interview, it's not an interview like if they're interviewing Michaela or Gary or even one of the PNM crew, Faris Al-Rawi. They used to grill me. Don't kill me. My mouth big. And when he came back, he asked me how I could justify referring to the Prime Minister as a... And I said to him in 2017, when that interview was done, I said there'll come a time when the entire country will refer to him as one. And so said, so done. So said, so done. But I wanted to explain to the lady, when I do my videos, because we did, Satish and I mean, green screen, we playing by the rules, you know. The Progressive Empowerment Party did not set out to break any rules. We were playing perfectly by the rules, and we were getting jammed. A lawyer told me, he said there's no measure, there's no bar. You could sue a sandwich. So don't feel if they wanted to. I get sued for repeating words that other people say. So don't feel for a minute that this have anything to do with right, wrong, truth, defamation, nothing. Prakash Ramada referred to it as a strategic litigation something for politics. But it's spelled slap. He said that's what they did. They used the justice system to hit you a slap. It was supposed to frustrate you. It was supposed to bankrupt you. It was supposed to silence you and get you out of politics. Out of the 11 lawsuits, we started to win a few. But there were 2 that we were certain we were going to win because they should not have been. And I lost. Now I want you to understand, if anybody here ever had a lawsuit, how much stress having a lawsuit hanging over your head is. Imagine having 11. Imagine having days where you have 3 court appearances. All of this for daring to stand up for Trinidad and Tobago. All of this. Struggling to find fees for lawyers. All of this cost us millions of dollars. This was not an easy road. It gave us the whole, you know. And then 2 happened back to back. And both of those, not only the judgments, which were, I found, you see, I am in public life. And the ironic counterbalance of me being the most sued person in politics is I, for a time, was the most bad-talked, castigated, character assassinated person in politics. Sterling and Akil and them could tell you, there was a time the PNM was publishing 50 plus entry items that Phillip was alleged to have done. And it was supposed to make Phillip for good people to stay away from Phillip. This was not, I tell you, this was not easy. But anyway, I want you to understand those two judgments that came one after the other, and the amount. I was going to tell you, I am in public life and I don't sue nobody. And if anybody should be suing people for some of the things that have been said about them, it should have been me. But I accepted going in that there is a cost of what I am about to do. I wasn't stupid. I was aware. I have seen and I have known my country's history. Those who are in public life, and this is actually, there's a judgment at the Privy Council called Baron v. Vines. I tell you, with all them lawsuits, I become a bush lawyer. No lie. Baron v. Vines, where the law lords basically said, people in public life cannot be held to a different standard. In fact, the public should be allowed a certain amount of leeway in how they push back at public office holders. But that didn't apply in Trinidad, at least not for me. I mean, one day I will write a book, and I'll tell you all some of the experiences I experienced through that legal process that will shock, shame, and sadden you that took place. To somebody who put aside his business at great expense to himself, his family, his life, to stand up for strangers, to stand up for his country. Two judgments came back to back, and the awards, in my view, because even the judges live in the Trinidad that I fix. Even the judges benefit from the Trinidad and the things that I have solved. But even the judges supposed to know that this is not an average person pelting a stone through somebody's window. This is an activist giving of his life and time for his country, and that we have to look at what he is saying from the angle of the greater good. Is the country better off with a Philip Edward Alexander or not? Because it comes down to that. And the awards seemed to me, because I called a lawyer and I hired a lawyer and I paid that lawyer $4,000 to go and research every judgment ever awarded in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, just to see where these awards stacked up. And because I had lost one before for large, I don't want to use the adjectives, I really want to use it, but for a large award, and then these two, I said to myself, they are going to continue until they destroy you. And you have to look at your responsibilities to your children and decide if now it has become too onerous to bear. And I resigned from public life. And I said that I resigned. Within 1 month of that resignation, plenty things happened. Within 1 month of that resignation from the leadership of the PB, I was just done. I was done. And I wanted everybody to know I was done. I was just going to deal with the issues I had to deal with and then take care of my life and my family. Within 1 month, all of the other remaining lawsuits collapsed. Hold up, everybody gone their way. Which was surprising. that nobody else in public life, especially people in the judiciary, or people who say that this is a land that is a republic ruled by law, didn't stand up and say, wait a minute. If his resignation from public life collapsed the cases, then your intention had nothing to do with defamation. Something else happened. The first case that I lost, that took about 6 years through the appeal court because of COVID and otherwise. And if you had told me a spaceship landed in my yard and aliens came out and had dinner with me, I would have been less surprised than my lawyer calling me to tell me that case where you were owing that man $750,000, the appeal court disagreed with the judge, and now he owes you $50,000. Now this happened a couple weeks after I resigned. Because in my heart, I started talking to my brother who lives away and trying to find out. I started to talk to other people who live in other countries. I say, you know what? If I can't fix it, I don't want to be a part of it because I see what's coming. And I don't want my children growing up in this. I had already started looking at options where I could take them and go. And now this happened. And I thought to myself, let's make one last big try. And I convened a meeting of the remaining executive. It was difficult, and I really want to thank all of the members who tried to keep it active and keep it going. It was not easy. Akil and Lima and Marissa, who stood up and did their best to try and carry it. I really want to give them a round of applause for even trying under those circumstances, especially Lima McLeod Wilkinson, who is here tonight. And I want to give her all the love in my heart for showing up here tonight. Lima was the first person, ask Ian Griffith, when we launched the Progressive Empowerment Party on January 18, 2017, Lima McLeod Wilkinson was the first person to speak on a mic as the Progressive Empowerment Party. And I want to give her a round of applause for that. On March the 2nd, 2024, I convened the remaining members of what we could call an executive, and I told them, listen, I'm not trying this as pep alone again. There is no way, after our experience, because many of you in those pep jerseys and many of you who might be watching this who are not here tonight but were part of the experience would know that we didn't hold anything back. We put everything on the line. The Progressive Empowerment Party in 2020 and 2022 mounted two national campaigns that was indistinguishable from the PNM and the UNC, and was able to provide and create and assemble a majority government if we had one. I don't want to go down the road as to why now, and all of the race and all of the divisions. They call it either invite them in or give them traveling money. No, what I talked to him, and I really want to just get this out. And on March 2nd, 2024, I said to the remaining members of the executive, I said, listen, I am going to help Kamala Persad-Bissessar become the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. You see, I know my voice is powerful. I know that. I have fixed things with voice alone. That's what fixes it. My big mouth. I tell people that on my walkabout. I say, only know two things. My mouth big and I just fix it. So give me a vote. Because when I get inside of there, we will keep our word or I will ask why. And you know that. Because I've never been in politics for kicks. I've never been in politics for girls. I've never been in politics for blue lights. I've never been in politics to rise in society, to go online with my big shot Syrian family and clink glass in President's House. Those things never mattered to me. I was only in politics to make sure that when I finally do say goodbye to this world, that this country is a better place for my children and yours. March 2nd, 2024, and all of them in that meeting said to me, if you going, we going. So I told them, I said, I don't mind putting on a yellow shirt, but I know the power of my voice. And at that time, they say a day is a long time in politics, and I remember every step of the way. Because at that time, March 2nd, 2024, Kamala Persad-Bissessar was embattled and against the ropes. They were detonating themselves as dissidents in the party. People was outside having meetings about her. Gary Griffith was attacking her publicly, saying all kind of words about the woman. Then they had these pop-up parties who formed themselves to come and challenge her. And the idea was, all of them together, coordinated by the secret society, the lodge boys, and the deep-pocketed 1%, who want to control both sides of the political divide, who want a parliament that is PNM and UNC in name only, but they're pulling all the strings. That's what they wanted. That's why they want her gone. That is why every single day, Sabda media publishing PNM bullshit and attacking Kamala Persad-Bissessar. That is why. That is why the editorial staff of Guardian Media's job is to turn PNM shit into sugar every morning. That is why today, Guardian Media could have said, Marco Rubio said that he had no problem doing dragon gas with Stuart Young. But that is pure, unmitigated bullshit. Because I have the document from the State Department and Stuart Young and the Guardian lie. That is a geopolitical lie. Sent the message to my brother, Dr. Paul Elias Alexander, who is embedded in Mar-a-Lago, who is part of the Trump administration, who is the author of Presidential Takedown. And I told him to tell your team, let them know, this is the bullshit going on in Trinidad and Tobago. Because you're not going to lie and win this election. You're not getting away with that on my watch. That's not happening. When I told them I know my mouth, when I told them I will use my big voice and I will get her elected, they raised their heads again to look at me. But I told them, this time, and like the last time, if you're coming, put everything on the table because I will push back. And over the course of 1 year, we destroyed all of her attackers. One day, Kamala Persad-Bissessar surprisingly called me on the phone. And she told me, I am bored. They have nobody attacking me anymore. You're chased all away. When my team went to meet with her, she summoned us. We didn't ask for a tech. We wasn't going to run for no election. I was just going to get her elected. But she is a good and decent woman. And she sent to call me, and she talked to me, and she sent to call the team. She said, okay, let's do a coalition. And I remember I sit with Barry Padarat, and I sit with Jerlene John, and everybody say the same thing. Compared to everybody else she's ever negotiated with, Philip Alexander still has not asked for a single thing. We've asked for nothing. That PNN people is joke and say if they had respect you, then I give you a safe seat. I say if you give me a safe seat, what's the point of me? Why give me what you already have? I am going to take POS North, St. Anne's West away from the PNN. That's what I am. If the rest of those political leaders had balls, belly, and backbone like me, they would know that they could do that too. But everybody inside of this trying to strong arm and extort the woman, negotiate hard with the woman, threaten the woman like Rai Ranbir, that jackass who Sabda let resign from the UNC 9 times. He resigned 9 times. And I watch all of that and I tell myself, but you know what I find out today? Sabda group of companies in trouble. And karma, God don't sleep. God don't sleep. You're closing down companies. Your Guardian media losing tens of millions of dollars every year. All of your media together on social media add up for the whole year. Can't get the likes and shares as then a month. Philip Edward Alexander, have your line, your length, and your measure. And I promise you, we are not stopping until we win on April 28th. The People's National Movement has taken advantage of the grandchildren of Africa in this country for too long, and that has to stop. Every creed and race in this country deserves to have the same access. When Gary Aboud ride for me, I ride back for him and mash him up till more alive become more dead. They ain't bad. They ain't mad put God out their thoughts again. Gary Griffith went from the biggest mouth to a little mouse. He can't get 3 likes on social media. Come at me. I said it was for all. I will not stop until Kamala Prasad Bissessa is the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Give it up here. 62 years of secret society neo-colonialists operating in back rooms, coordinating politics, paying pop-ups, paying talking heads, paying people to attack the court so that they could benefit. It is all they want. They just want their business losing money hand over fist, but they're making it back. I watch a man who used to hold a security dog outside my fence is a billionaire today in the security industry. I watch family members move from the cloth business to the restaurant business because the restaurant business is an easy business to move a lot of Coke or Pepsi Country have to fix. Country have to fix. All them little children right around here need to have hope. They need to have opportunity. They need to have an education system that works. We can't keep telling the children study hard in school and when you come out from school there'll be a job and they have no jobs. We can't keep doing that. We can't have an education system full of the head children head with nonsense that they will never benefit from and leaving out all of the important social and other beneficial skills that they should have. We need to fix that. The SEA exam causes more mental illness in this country than anything else. That has to be abolished. When Kamala Prasad Bissessa was the Minister of Education under the first United National Congress government, we stopped having, the purpose of the common entrance was that there weren't enough school places. When they got universal places, when every single child could move from primary to secondary, the next step obviously was to make all schools 10-year schools because you no longer needed the exam. You cannot tell me that you are so stupid that you have some schools or prestige schools and you're not asking yourself yet why? I keep asking them. Explain to me the dichotomy of Fatima and Mokorapo that share a wall. How could Fatima College be a prestige school and Mokorapo be a failed school, if not by deliberate design?
Correct. Yes. Correct.
You're using the education system to put little black children into jobs of hustling and suffering, labor for the rest of their lives. Yes. You cannot have school systems that are designed to make some children doctors and lawyers. And let me tell you something, and I want to say this, I've said this on my live videos. The greatest thing to ever happen to the East Indian community in Trinidad and Tobago is that bullshit about recalcitrant minority. Because when the PNM slammed the door on the Indians, what they did was slam the door on PNM.
That's right.
And they had to make a way.
Yes.
And they made their way. And in 2 decades, started to put out all the doctors and all the lawyers and all the engineers, because the people were allowed to sacrifice. The grandchildren of Africa never had that opportunity. The people of the East Indian communities built their schools in cowsheds, but they built proper schools. We spending millions of dollars building bullshit schools and sending our children to lose, to waste 17 years of their lives. We have to fix that. So when people come to talk to me, intelligent people tell me we lost a whole generation. We didn't lose them. We mashed them up. This country, by our votes, legitimized. When Stuart Young come on a platform to talk to you and tell you all the things he planning to do in the future, I still want to know what you did in the past. Which man staying married to a woman who telling him the food will be good tomorrow, even though the last week she burned the food every night? Which man? Nobody. Maybe it's either you going by your mother or I going by your mother, but somebody will. That's the truth. You cannot have this man. And listen, to the PNM supporters who getting paid, take the money. But for the PNM supporters who supported the PNM for free, all you're stupid. Rowley was correct. All you're stupid. Because that PNM have no clue what they're trying to do. Keith Rowley resigned and fled the jurisdiction. Convened his kangaroo court and foisted Stuart Young, the most failed minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Even Fitzgerald Hines was a better minister of national security than Stuart Young. And there was well cuss Hines. You know why? It's easy to cuss a black man. Watch your wings. Watch you. It's easy. Hey, I'm telling you, look at the numbers. Even Fitzgerald Hines, Pomsiti Ras, even he was a better minister of national security than Small Pin. At least Hines a lie. Hines a lock me outside the country. Hines a smuggling drug lords and Maduro right-hand man to meet in secret and drop some box for them that we still don't know what was in that box. So when you see the United States of America, Donald Trump, when you see they say they're not playing with Trinidad and Tobago, it is because of Keith Rowley and Stuart Young. The United Kingdom put visa restrictions on Trinidad and Tobago for the first time in 1,000 years because of Keith Rowley and Stuart Young. Don't tell me it is not because of the gang members whose job it is to police the country, whose job it is. At the end of the day, the Prime Minister is responsible for everything from the top down. What have you done with the 10 years we've given you? Other than fatten yourself, fatten your family, your friends and your finances, and now give yourself a golden parachute. A 47% increase and $1 million in back. You're spitting in people's face now. You're whining anymore. You're spitting. You're disgusting.
What do you want to know?
Yes.
And to stand up and tell Akash Samaru, you think you deserve it. But if you was to really get what you deserve, you still running all now. Because they say you're supposed to soak it in cat piss and pepper. That's what you need. That's what you need. But Stuart Young stopped being a bully when he get 2 butu. And everybody now and then who don't understand could benefit from a butu or 2. And I tell Stuart Young, in this election, for the first time, he's going to learn what is a political butu. He had 2 more. He got it for sure on the 28th of April. Because you have to be cruel to yourself. You have to be a masochist to line up in that voting booth on election day and vote for Seo Chung. I tell you what, the man is criminally incompetent. As Minister of Energy, he has destroyed the bullshit that's up.
Stop the media.
Battery. Battery has it.
Wait, man, talking long. This morning, let's pretend. They published a story. A round of applause for Timothy.
Yeah.
If the government was that efficient, we wouldn't be running for elections tonight. You see? Problem, solution, move forward. That's all you want. That's all you want from the people in office. This is the problem, apply the solution so we can move on. I want to say to Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to say, and I need to talk to the people of POS North, St. Anne's West. You own some of the best real estate in this country. The people of Belmont and Gonzales don't fully appreciate what they have, and they won't appreciate what they have until the 1% push them out and gate the community. Then they will realize, oh, that's where we was living. Belmont is a crucible of history, like Laventille is a crucible of history. And people need to remember, these things didn't collapse naturally. People were pushed over, like Lawrence Dupre was pushed over, like Jack Warner was pushed over. Somehow, the 1% and those who pull the puppet string seem to be lucky at getting black faces that don't mind pushing other black faces over. But I want to tell you something. I, Phillip Edward Alexander, if ever you get a chance to ask Prakash Ramada, during the People's Partnership government, Prakash had asked me, if you were to get a ministry, what ministry would you like? And I said, without missing a beat, make a ministry of Morva, Beetham, Laventille, and Seals, because somebody have to fix that. Somebody have to go in there and bring hope and opportunity. Listen. My family, when Mario Sabga Abu tell you he built 120 stores in 10 years, that took money. There are plenty people in Trinidad and Tobago that could open better restaurants than Mario Sabga Abu that don't have access to money. The financial industry in Trinidad and Tobago has locked a lot of people out. It is easier for you to get a loan to go and wine on a Bamsi for Carnival than to start a business or to buy a house. Check it. That is what you call manipulating the population to a desired outcome. You have determined who will play at what level. And I want to tell you that this coalition of interest is here to break all those barriers, to remove all those obstacles, to be the rising tide that lifts all boats, to make sure that every creed and race that the Constitution and the anthem want to talk about, that's supposed to find an equal place, we will make sure that happens. There must be no more second-class and third-class citizens in Trinidad and Tobago. Everybody must have a right to dream and to have that dream come true. If that is not a reason to be in politics, then I don't know what is. We have been the richest country in the world for cocoa, for sugar, for pitch, for oil, for tourism. They've destroyed all of them. We need to build them back. When Seo Chung asks where the money coming from, I want to tell him, Jackass, press rewind. Everything all they mess up, we go fix it back. You will see where the money coming from.
Yes. Yes.
And right there, Trinitario cocoa is still Trinidad owned. Moruga scorpion pepper, the second hottest pepper in the world by Schofield units. And the only reason it is second is because they use Moruga scorpion pepper to create the California Reaper. But the California Reaper is so much hotter than a Moruga scorpion pepper that it is practically unusable. But a Moruga scorpion pepper could be used to make pepper spray because it has the right amount of Schofield units for that. So all the 90,000 acres of land that we got from Caroni and from Petrotrin and from Colonial Life Clico could be put to use growing pepper, that we could reduce the pepper mash, that we could sell to the pepper spray industry, and that alone could give us more money than we get from oil right now. Because that is $2,500 a 55-gallon drum. And we get in 3 reaping cycles every year. Because we have no hurricane blowing our crops away. All we need is a government with heart, for will, and care for the people to give the farmers what they need. Predial larceny will become a thing of the past. If tomorrow you had a government in office that would create licenses for all of the farmers, and once you are outside there selling plantain and pepper on the side of the road, police are supposed to stop and ask you where you get that from. And if they don't have a license and they don't have a receipt from a licensed farmer, it's jail for you. Seize the goods, seize the truck. That's all it will take. One time, just one time it made the news that the man who's selling plantain on the side of the highway, he get locked up because he couldn't account for where the plantain come from. That's all it takes. They will never touch a farmer crop again. Water problems. I have been telling Trinidad and Tobago, more water falls on this country for free per year than we could use in 10 years. All we need to do is do what the Mesopotamians and the Persians and the Romans did a millennia ago. Capture, hold, treat, and distribute. That is all it takes. It is not that they don't know, but if they put proper water, if they put proper water systems in place, then truck water can sell, water tank can sell, bottled water can sell. All them people who making money. We know all of the answers. We know all of the solutions. When you hear those other people tell you, we will convene a group to help us find the solutions, don't waste time. We've already done that. We know the way to fix it. We can fix education, healthcare, the infrastructure. We understand. We've met with the people who know, and they will tell you that the retaining walls and the roads need, because they need short retaining walls on highways to prevent the pitch and the substrate from moving away under the loads of trucks and cars. Put the retaining walls, the roads will last as long as Wallerfield. The difference between our highway and Wallerfield is those retaining walls. So no brainer. We know that Janice was talking about Wassa digging up the road and leaving holes. You know why? We're not supposed to have water pipe running from Caroni to Diego Martin. Every constituency could capture, hold, and treat and distribute its own water. So why are we doing that? Why? Because selling pipe and installing pipe is big business and big money. And that's where the corruption is. Legitimate, legal corruption caused by government incompetence. And our people are just so punch drunk from all of that misdrama of what has passed for governance in the past that we will accept anything at all. People messaging me and telling me the road collapsed opposite Napa and damaging people's cars. Normally I'd run there with a phone and take a picture, do a video. But what's the point? What's the point? We 8 days away from firing them. We'll fix it ourselves. I ain't calling on them to fix nothing. I was stopped by a vendor in West Point. I was buying coconut water and bananas and pineapple from him. He's stealing me pineapple from him so I could go home and just throw pepper and salt and make chow. He's live on pineapple chow in my house. And I was there and it started to rain hard. And this elderly gentleman who came to buy his stuff, he said all you would have to do is wait for it to flood under the Cocorit flyover and back up to Carnage and Pretty Valley. But you can't do it again because you fix it. So they get away. And that's the truth. That's what we were doing. We proved the point that even people who are not in public office could make government work. We proved that. So just imagine if you actually put us in government. The type of country that you would have. We need, as people, to be selfish. We need to be selfish. We need to say, I will vote for people who will make my life better. That is the only. Don't vote because you're black or you're blue or you're white or you're green. That is not a reason to vote. Don't vote because you like the way the Prime Minister whine. If they didn't have this here, I was coming to whine on stage tonight. Don't vote because you like how the Prime Minister whine or the nonsense Churchill talking. Because Churchill and Keith Rowley and Faris Al-Rawi is lie big, lie well, and lie all the time. Truly. All you've ever gotten was lie upon lie upon lie. And I remember somebody saying how you could tell when Stuart Young lying, his lips moving.
And he just blink plenty.
And he's blink.
I know him personally, I have to tell you that. When he lying, he just blink like hell.
He's incompetent. He was incompetent as a minister. You don't promote him. You don't foist that on the people. And to the people of the PNM. To the people of the PNM. Before I go, I want you to hear me say this. Penelope Beckles is your rightful leader. They've bullied and robbed that woman of what is duly hers. And they've robbed you of your proper leader. And you could fix that. On April 28th, give Phillip Edward Alexander all your votes. Make sure Stuart Young lose and Penelope will become your leader again. Right. Win, win, win. Imagine that. Imagine you wake up in Belmont or Gonzales or Casablanca or St. Anne or Corey Street on the 29th and you have Penelope Beckles as your political leader again and you have the Fix-It man as your MP. You win twice. You win twice. And let me tell you, Stuart Young not blacker than me. So if it's race we're talking about, because if you don't want to debate, let me go in a whining competition. I'm going to show you. If it's race they're talking, he's not blacker than me. And as ridiculous as that sounds, sometimes you have to talk that because we're talking it. How David Rudder say, how we vote is not how we party. That was the greatest insult that was ever said to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, that we don't even know we own way. We don't even know we own self. We don't realize that who we party with is who we should be voting for. Race should never have been part of the national conversation. And we accepted that when Great Britain needed to rule far-flung colonies, divide the major races, keep them at each other's throats so that you could win. But England is no longer running Trinidad and Tobago. We run our own country. And in Trinidad and Tobago, race doesn't matter except for politics. So let's destroy that race talk in the politics once and for all. Let's destroy it. So the next time I go on any media show, and I want you to watch this election. Phillip Edward Alexander still commands the third largest party in Trinidad and Tobago. Still. I am the most informed of all the political leaders. Still, I tell you, bring any of them. But they won't invite me on the station because they know the truths that I am talking now is the depths of what they're benefiting from. I told Gary Aboud, the only reason you think you're brilliant is because you are surfing advantages while the rest of the country live with their disadvantages. But if everybody had the same foreign exchange benefits that you have, they would go online and they would shop and they would bring down what they need to bring down. And some of those businesses would no longer survive. You cannot tell me in 2025 that we still talking these things at an election time. What should have been dominating the platforms is how we go forward to make this an even better country for the next generation. And I want to tell you that Kamala Prasad Bissessa is the leader to give us that. I want to tell you that. I want to tell you.
No doubt about that.
I have spoken with this woman, and I want to tell you, she's strong, she's on point, and she know what she doing. Now I see young people talking about she need help to walk up on the platform. But I never see her tumble down from no stage before. So they damn fast. Until all your leaders could learn how to walk up and down steps, don't be talking about other people. Don't be talking about other people. Remember the first time you saw that video, you thought he was bowling? Man, kill Kitty, boy. You just kill him a Chinese high fall. I pray in my heart that the people of Trinidad and Tobago look at the country, look at what we've endured in the last 10 years, look at it properly, look at yourselves, look at your children, look at others and the advantages they have, and ask yourself, why, if the PNM is a black party, why do black people occupy the bottom rung of society? If PNM was a black party, black Afro-Trinbagonians should be operating and occupying all the highest industries in Trinidad and Tobago. And I am saying that they don't because others have deliberately made it so. And I am saying that the PNM is the tool that made that happen, that the PNM was never a black party except to use black people's votes, and we must end the PNM once and for all. On April 28th, PNM must not win one seat, not one. Give Kamala Prasad Bissessa and the coalition of interest all 39 seats in Trinidad, give Farley the 2 seats in Tobago, and let us fix Trinidad and Tobago together. Thank you.
Look at the country fall apart. Crime and corruption, it break we heart. Years of promises still we waiting, but all we getting is more and more pain. The youth's dying, parents ball. PNM runway to the wall, but no more TNT, no more. Phillip Alexander rising up, he answering the call. Alexander, go fix it, just wait and see. For a better tomorrow for you and me. PB and USC, bringing back the hope for we. Some people get up and vote. Vote for your rights, vote with all of your might. It's elections, vote to save your life. Oh, oh, hospitals in a mess. These schools in pain, roads full of potholes, we don't know what to do again. The PNM joking, wasting we money. People suffer all over the country, but have no fear. Change is near, Phillip ready, he right here. He's standing strong.
Okay, good night everyone. We want you all to stick around, co-mingle, have some fun.